Zverev wins gold in the Olympics. I was a little bit worried that he was gonna have a letdown from that high that he experienced defeating Djokovic, defeating the greatest player. In his opinion, he said it after the semifinal match. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he knew what was at stake for Djokovic, and he was like, I'm sorry. You're the greatest ever. I respect you so much. That was such a high for Zverev that I was worried that going into the final, he was going to have a letdown. He was like, it's just crazy to get yourself up for a final match after having such a ridiculous semifinal match. And that was sort of the case too with Djokovic with that in the French Open earlier this year when he defeated Nadal. And it was one of the best matches ever. That third set was probably the best set of all time. And you were just worried that Djokovic was going to have a letdown going into the final against Tsitsipas. And he did go down 0-2 and made that comeback. So I was kind of worried about Zverev because in the Olympics, in the best of 3 set, you don't have a chance to make a comeback. You lose the first 2 sets, you're done, you lose. But I was impressed by Zverev. My worries that he was going to come out the gates kind of slow, kind of, still thinking about his semifinal match against Djokovic were quickly put to a side. He defeats what's his name? Khachanov, khachanov, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing his name so bad. He beats him 6-3 and 6-1 in 79 minutes. He imposed his will on him. That serve was hot. His returns were amazing. He was covering the court like I've never seen a 6'6" person do. Zverev, he's quick, man. He's 6'6". He's tall. He uses all his lankiness. He uses all his height when he serves, when he returns, when he uses that forehand. But he covers the court very, very impressively. I really enjoyed Zverev's tennis this Olympics. He dropped 1 set in the whole Olympics. Just an extraordinary tournament for Zverev. He gets gold for Germany. And after defeating Karen, he says, there is nothing better than this. You are not only playing for yourself, you are playing for your country. And the Olympics are the biggest sporting event in the world. The feeling I have now and will have, nothing will be better. And that was just amazing to hear. I was happy for Zverev after losing the U.S. Open last year, being up 2 sets to none, and then having a chance to close out set number 5 for the victory and still losing. I was worried that he was gonna, take a nosedive in his career. That was gonna be too hard of a defeat, and he had some bumps along the road this year. But for him to bounce back, defeat Djokovic, defeat Karen Khachanov in the final is just really, really impressive. And I'm excited to see what the rest of his career is gonna play out. This is one of those moments that could really catapult you into that next level. Defeating Djokovic, closing out the deal in the finals, emphatically winning gold for Germany. It's an amazing accomplishment. He's still only 24 years old. He's been to some finals. He's won the ATP finals. He's been to the U.S. Open final. This could just be the turning point that we look back 5, 6, 10 years from now, and we're like, okay, this is it. This is where Zverev got it together. The Olympics in Tokyo 2021 or 2020, whatever you want to call it. That's when Zverev really turned his career around. That's when he got it all together, not just with his game, his forehand, his backhand, but like in his head. Like it all just came together for him, and that would be really exciting to see him develop into one of the upper tier players. And it's just I'm excited to see him for the U.S. Open. I'm excited to see him try to get revenge for last year's defeat. And it was one of the funny moments for this match was when Karen Khachanov at the end of the game, he went to the sideline and he hit his racket on the bench and just destroyed his racket. Some of the announcers were the NBC announcers were like, oh, he doesn't even deserve to have that feeling. Why is he so upset? Why is he so frustrated? He wasn't even really close. This match wasn't close. He lost 6-3. He lost 6-1. Zverev was, in complete control the whole match. Those frustrations are for someone that played a close match. And I thought that was really funny because Zverev did win handily. That final was pretty one-sided. Zverev was completely frustrating Karen with all the movement that he was doing, getting to every ball, winning most of the big rallies. It was just a very impressive, conclusive victory for Zverev. Great way to wrap up the Olympics. Great way for Zverev to finish out the year, going into the latter part of the year with a lot of momentum. We'll see how he does in Cincinnati. We'll see how he does in the U.S. Open. I'm very excited. I'm going to tune into both. And we'll see if he's able to get a Grand Slam victory and, really propel his career after winning the Olympics. I'm very excited for Zverev. I don't know about you guys, but I think he now, more than any of the other ones of these young next generations, he now has the lead. He now has, he's the one that's probably going to take over the mantle as, one of the next greats now that the big three does look like they're going on their way out. Nadal just lost in the second round of the City Open, and he pulled out of Toronto just today. And we'll see how he does in Cincinnati, if he even plays Cincinnati. And we'll see how he does in the U.S. Open. Federer is just resting till the U.S. Open. Djokovic, we'll see how he does the rest of his career. We'll see if he completes the calendar Grand Slam. They're getting older, and this might be the turning point where we see Zverev just start to take over, start to win Grand Slams. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see someone of these young next generation, take the reins and really say, you know what, this next generation got it. You don't have to be worried about, the big three retiring. Tennis is still going to be entertaining. It's still going to be fun. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it for this next generation taking that step that we've been waiting for a long, long time. And we'll see if he does it. But what do you guys think about Zverev winning gold medal in the Olympics? There was a lot of omittees from the field. A lot of people didn't show up. Nadal wasn't there. Federer wasn't there. Shapovalov wasn't there. There's a lot of players that weren't there, so the field wasn't as competitive as it could have been. But nonetheless, it's an extreme accomplishment for Zverev. I'm happy for him. Let me know what you guys think.